When you're a SiriusXM subscriber, you've got access to commercial-free music, channels from almost every genre, and channels created in conjunction with the biggest names in music. Eminem's Shade 45, Pearl Jam Radio, Bruce Springsteen's E Street Radio, and more. Visit www.SiriusXM.com/go to sign up online quickly or call 844-711-8800 now. Activate your radio and start listening now.
You know SiriusXM has over 100 extra channels on the SiriusXM app filled with ad-free music made for everything you do. Mashup channels, workout channels, channels for parties, or just chilling out and more. Expertly curated for any mood, occasion, or activity. Extra channels let you discover new music and enjoy even more variety from every decade and music style you love. Plus, you can watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows with SiriusXM Video. And you can do it all along with listening in your car as part of our music and entertainment plan. Right now, we're offering SiriusXM subscription plans for as low as $6 a month, plus fees and taxes. Call 844-711-8800 to find out more about these amazing offers.
The Gold Mines on Laugh Out Loud Radio, Channel 96. Here to tell you about the brand new SiriusXM app. Check out my new personal page on the fully redesigned app to see all the places that you can hear me and also keep up with all the latest episodes and more. Just search Kevin Hart in the app to find me, and then keep exploring to add all your SiriusXM favorites and your new discoveries to your library. The brand new SiriusXM app is helping you find and connect with me and the personalities that you know and love from all of the SiriusXM family.
Get the SiriusXM app and listen on your phone when you get out of the car. Anywhere you take your phone, you can take Howard Stern, NFL Radio, and commercial-free music channels from nearly every genre. Channels vary by subscription plan. You never have to miss your favorite SiriusXM programs or commercial-free music. Find the SiriusXM app in the App Store or call 844-711-8800 or visit SiriusXM.com/app to find out more.
The iconic rap verses.
Cause that's what a monster do.
The artists who shape the culture.
I know when they're alignment.
Flex your musical muscles with a new channel. Feature hip-hop from the 2000s.
Let me work it.
In the 2010s.
Be humble. Holla, sit down.
On Flex 2K. Now, SiriusXM Channel 49 in the SiriusXM app. Included in all trials and popular plans. To hear Flex 2K, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visit SiriusXM.com/go.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see. There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at EquityZoneMortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 0181486.
Rondo Deportes, bonjour, vidi vidi vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me and people who love the universe, and that would include you. What a great day in them there hills. We have President's Day on a beautiful February 19th, 2024. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them sit ya, where the good Lord split ya, as well as driving a fleet of Cadillac cars all around the universe. I'm telling you, it's been storm and raining in Northern California, all over California. I really wish everybody the very best dealing with this rain is nothing to play with, if that makes sense to you. I want to say for today's show, I have to pay homage to President's Day. It's not like other shows where I get into a lot of other things. I do want to pay homage to that. I do want to talk about the NBA All-Star Game. Also, the Genesis Open, where Tiger Woods had to pull out again and unfortunately had a bout with a little health issue. But he'll be back. All's fair in love and war. I just want to say today's show, you can find us on 29 podcast applications all over the universe. It's streaming on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Really do appreciate that. I want to say give that some praise. Give it praise, praise, praise. It's been a rainy day, but a beautiful day. Looking for apples in Denver Hills, place called Apple Hill up in Northern California. Really do appreciate that. If you ever want a chance to go up there and get some apples, is a great place to go. But I also want to make sure that I pay homage to the Veterans Crisis Hotline, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste, and they always do a great job of making sure that people have what they need. You know, anybody going through issues, pick up the phone, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255, or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. I'm telling you, it's something about the Veterans Crisis Hotline, especially in a day like today, where there's rain all over Denver Hills, California, and you know there's some veterans out there just trying to keep warm. We know that they fought for this country, but a lot of people going through issues. 800-273-8255, 800-273-8255, or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. I'm telling you, give them some praise. They do a great job making sure that people get help. And obviously, we wish we could help everybody, but you can't help everybody. That's just part of the problem. But I do want to know on Big C Sports Podcast, I want to do my part. I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter in our lives, especially when it's raining and flooding in Denver Hills, California. The commercials are done. The stats are provided. The storytelling. I even do the play-by-play. And then I upload the show to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City. And I'm in Denver Hills, California, where it's raining. It's raining cats and dogs. I even saw a deer run across the road today. It wasn't raining deer, but it was one jumping across the road up in Apple Hill. At the same time, I want to say never missed a show since starting Big C Sports with the crew back at Salem Media. And just a great time. I just want to give it some praise. Through joy, pain, sunshine, and rain, I keep riding and shining and doing my best with the Big C Sports Podcast. You know, I want to say something that is so near and dear to my heart. I feel on a day like today, and it's President's Day, I'm asking all the presidents. Well, we only have one right now, Big C. Okay, that's okay. I'm asking the president, President Biden. I would hope that I don't sound like a fool when I say this. I want to make sure that we can all pay homage to the Veterans Crisis Hotline that I do, but I also want to make sure we pay homage to the California Reparations Task Force, which I do because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Isn't that something? They put in their heart, mind, body, and soul to make this happen. And I think I'm the only sports show in the universe, maybe the only show, period, that pays homage to the California Reparations Task Force. It was done at the Secretary of State building in beautiful Sacramento, California. But the chair, Camila Moore, she's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I'm going to give praise to Dr. Amy C. Brown. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. He's the vice chair. I want to give praise to the number one senator in the United States of America, California Senator Stephen Bradford. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I've spoken with him several times. Have another meeting coming up with him, too, for reparations and Senate Bill 490 that he has in legislation as we are breathing. Are you breathing? Of course we're breathing. At the same time, I want to give praise to a council member, Monica Montgomery Steppe. She's brilliant. Love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Assembly member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving them praise. Everybody has their own thoughts about who gets praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Shell Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Attorney Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California, Berkeley. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I also want to give praise to Attorney Donald K. Tamaki, part of the California Reparations Task Force, because he's brilliant, and I love giving him praise. Give them all praise. Give them all praise, 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 because a mind is a terrible thing to waste, and they really are doing the best they can to get reparations passed in this beautiful state called California. And California is the 5th largest economy in the world. And things that happen in California, they tend to stretch to other parts of the United States. So I love making sure that I'm part of that. But I want to start on today's show because I started with the Reparations Task Force. I want to just say Happy President's Day, paying homage to our presidents of the great United States of America, the land of the free, the home of the brave. It doesn't mean everything's great, but you get the chance to participate. So President's Day, officially Washington's birthday, at the federal governmental level is a holiday in the United States celebrated on the third Monday of February. It is often celebrated to honor all those who served as presidents of the United States. And since 1879 has been the federal holiday honoring founding father George Washington, who led the Continental Army to victory in the American Revolutionary War, and then presided at the Constitutional Convention in 1787 and was the first United States president. I want to give that some praise. My goodness. Should have ended slavery and passed reparations. Isn't that something? We all have our thoughts and prayers about different things. But everybody, when you think about it, the official name varies by federal, state, and city laws. It is observed by the United States. Federal and most United States and cities celebrations, community and national celebrations. As I mentioned, the third Monday in February, and it happens every year. First time it was celebrated is 1879 as an official federal holiday and related to Lincoln's birthday. So this day is an official state holiday in most states under various names. Depending on the specific law, the state holiday may officially celebrate Washington alone. Washington and the great Abraham Lincoln or some other combination of U.S. presidents such as Washington and Thomas Jefferson, who was born April 12th. Now, George Washington, born on February 22nd, 1732, Washington's birthday was celebrated on this date from 1879 until 1970 to give the federal employees a 3-day weekend. In 1968, the Uniform Monday Holiday Act moved it to the third Monday in February. The day soon became known as President's Day. The presence and placement of the catastrophes varies, provides an occasion to remember all the United States presidents and to honor the great President Abraham Lincoln and Washington's birthdays together or any single president choice. I'm telling you, it's honor for me to even talk about President's Day. People can have whatever thought they have about the United States, but it is the land of the free, the home of the brave. Not always equal. We know that because of slavery and Jim Crow and all that garbage. But as many states and cities follow suit, some states have been celebrating Lincoln's birthdays on February 12th. Combined with two President's Days, Lincoln led the nation through the American Civil War, preserved the Union, he abolished slavery, he should have passed reparations for the descendants of child slavery, and he bolstered the federal government and modernized the United States economy. You got to give that some praise. Well, that's Big C's thoughts on President's Day. Everybody has their own thoughts about is it a good or bad thing. Of course, it's great. I just want them to say reparations now, reparations forever. Because I'm all about doing the right thing. None of our presidents were slaves. What? Exactly. None of our presidents were slaves. It should have been a long time ago that reparations were passed. I want to say they didn't protect Black America's assets. I'm trying to make a commercial. And you got to forgive me because it's been raining so much in Dimner Hills. Sometimes I feel a little bit waterlogged. I say my commercial is all the presidents that I just pay homage to, they should have protected African Americans' assets. Because I'm trying to do that with the RDC team, a resource development consultant, a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth. All fair and love and war, long-term solutions by the book. In fact, signed into law in 1966. It was President Lyndon Baines Johnson, and Dr. Martin Luther King was right there when he signed it into law. What is that, Big C? He signed some entitlements, long-term care solutions by the book. Medicare and You is taking care of tomorrow. In California, it's called Medi-Cal, and everybody needs to know why RDC, Big C, why are they trying to protect people's assets? Well, that's my commercial. Your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs. You can find out your options. They promise to specialize to navigate and maximize long-term care benefits to protect your assets. Achoo! Sometimes I get a little bit sneezy. Assets! Sometimes I'm sneezing. Clear your mind if you got a dirty mind, people. Learn to protect your assets. With the spend down is over in California as of 2024. All paperwork and communication with all government agencies are handled by our staff of entitlement specialists. Ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary. Benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescriptions, medical equipment costs, and more. Protection of your ass. 6, 2, Aflac. No, Aflac's a duck. I'm trying to protect your ass. 6, 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. And including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family, avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government's estate recovery program, a one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance premiums. For the rest of your life, learn to protect your assets. Yeah, that's a please. Protect your assets. That's what I'm trying to do with Big C Sports. All fair and more. I want to say so many things that are important to me in the world of Big C Sports podcast. I just love what I get the chance to do. But in the rain in California, I tell you, this talk that we talk about global warming and the sea coast rising, and there are properties down in Southern California that are on the brink of falling into the ocean. And how they get built so close to the water in the first place, I don't know. Who's the appraiser that did that? But it's important that I bring that up because as we learn to protect our assets, people have to have flood insurance. If you don't have flood insurance, if your house is damaged by a flood, you know the insurance company will tell you that they don't have to cover that. Shocking, isn't it? They don't care to protect your assets! But that's just part of life. Who would have thought you needed flood insurance in California where it's a desert for the most part? All fair level war. I want to thank Double O, part of the PI Committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. She sent me Executive Order 13985. It was on President Biden's first day in office. It's to further advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. That's the White House. Really do appreciate her. I want to thank Senators Marco Rubio and Rick Scott for reintroducing a bill to restore Holocaust survivors' rights to Congress, if that makes sense. That happened last year over the summertime. Also, Georgetown University, they already pledged over $1 billion in reparations to descendants of child slavery that helped build Georgetown University. They were sold off, men, women, and children, to pay the debts for Georgetown. As egregious as that is, it's in the same city, Washington, D.C. How did Georgetown University beat the White House in paying out reparations? Give Georgetown some praise. I said give them praise. I want to thank Double O, part of the PAC Committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. She sent me this article from the United Nations stating that strong leadership and political will are crucial to ensure reparatory justice for people of African descent. I really do appreciate that. Love giving her praise. I want to thank, this is T-Mobile, proud sponsor of Big C Sports, America's largest 5G network. I want to thank PNC Private Bank, proud sponsors of Big C Sports. I want $6 billion, and I want it now. I want it now, Eddie. It'd be nice to have it now, if that makes sense to you. You can Google Freedman's Bank, because Freedman's Bank was already set up by Congress in 1865 to help African Americans put their money in a bank because as we all know, or maybe we don't all know, Freedman's Bank, it was chartered by the United States Congress March 3rd, 1865, to provide a place for former slaves to safely store their money, protecting their assets. They're trying to do that. After several successful years in which Freedman's deposited more than $60 million into the bank, it collapsed in 1874 as a result of mismanagement and fraud. Not only did the bank rob many African Americans of their entire life savings, imagine the psychological harm that was done. The need for the bank for free black Americans became evident during the American Civil War. We're talking about President's Day, where African American soldiers in the Union Army, they were often denied access to conventional banks and were often taken advantage of by swindlers who took their money. Well, unfortunately, John W. Alford, a congressional minister, and Anson M. Sperry, a United States Army paymaster, individually identified that need and attempted to foster the creation of such an institution in early 1865. Alford's effort culminated in the legislation passed by Congress March 3rd, 1865, that incorporated Freedmen's Savings and Trust Company as a nonprofit financial institution. President Abraham Lincoln immediately signed the bill into law. Isn't that something? And Sperry began working for the bank shortly thereafter. According to the charter, Freedmen's Bank money was to be deposited, to be invested in stocks and bonds and treasury notes or other securities of the United States. Unlike a conventional bank, the Freedmen's Bank was forbidden to make loans to black Americans. What? Yeah. As we celebrate President's Day. Imagine that. Not one of those presidents did right by black Americans. And there's some people that say we don't deserve reparations. A board of 50 white trustees was named to manage the bank's affairs, and they stole the money! Is that crazy? I know we celebrate President's Day, but think about that. They stole the money, leaving black Americans to pull themselves up by the bootstrap. I got to play something else that's really clear before I get into sports, because I want you to know, with Big C Sports, I'm not just shucking and jiving. I'm going to play one of the greatest speakers in the history of the United States.
That America refused to give the Negro any land. Through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
You got to give that some praise. Nobody can deny that reparations are due for the sin of the child. Nobody can. Nobody can deny that. Pay your bills on time or not, no one can deny that. We know that it's due. And I want to make sure that for the sin of the child of slavery, that I do my part in making sure that we get it done. Nobody can tell you that it's not necessary. It's necessary. And I love doing that for President's Day. How we dare celebrate President's Day knowing that reparations have never been paid for descendants of child of slavery? How do we do that? I know a lot of us, we focus on entertainment and sports, and there's nothing wrong with sports. But I just want to do my part. Big C Sports is different. I want to make sure, after you just heard that speak, I talked about Freedman's Bank. I know you want to know who won the game. The NBA All-Star game, they got to do something different. It's not even an effort. You scored 200 points in the game. How about this? Google Senate Bill 490. It's Freedmen's Bureau of California. And it's put together into legislation in California by Senator Stephen Bradford. And we ask your support in the economic development of the exceptional people that have been over-policed, marginalized, raped, pillaged, neglected, unprotected, and deliberately disabled for far too long. So we ask for your response for supporting of Senate Bill 490. It's called SB 490 by California Senator Stephen Bradford. Also, if you think about it, when it comes to reparations, this AB 3121, that report is over 1,100 pages, and it's for California's descendants of child of slavery. You got to give that praise the task force. I talk about it on every show, and I know I may be the only one that does it, but it's time. I gotta share a little story before I get into the Big C Sports podcast. Over the weekend, I was invited to speak on a show discussing reparations, and of course, I gave my thoughts on why reparations are necessary. We have the President Biden. He's actually wants to study it. Well, enough to. That's like saying study voting for you. People already voted for you. The same African Americans that voted for you, they want to see that you're going to pass reparations because you can do it. And my proponent was, if the United Nations is for it, descendants of Holocaust got it, reparations have been paid out to other groups of people all over the country and all over the world, and it's time for us. Japanese Americans through internment camps, they got reparations. Native Americans got some reparations too for having their land stolen from them. And there's no need to try to run away from the fact that black Americans deserve reparations too. That's my point. And I want to make sure that I do that, because a lot of our people, they're just not even focused on it. But the legislators are. Give the legislators some praise. Imagine when we get entertainers and athletes. Maybe it doesn't matter to get entertainers and athletes involved in it because it's about legislation. But I do want to say what I want to do in helping to protect the assets of RDC as a Business Development Manager for RDC. We have the endorsement of George H. Jones, ESQ, Chairman of the California Black Chamber of Commerce and California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation, Mr. Leon Woods, Resource Development Consulting, one of the top lobbyists in California. We have Ms. Cheryl Brown, the Chair of the California Commission on Aging. We have Mr. Ray Dela Cruz, CEO of Resource Development Consulting. And we have Mr. Alex Dela Cruz, founder of American Veterans Benefits. And give that some praise. They want to help protect your assets. Give it some praise. Everybody wants some praise. And everybody wants their assets protected. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. I want to get into something that I think about Super Bowl. And Super Bowl is amazing. But many people, when you think about the thoughts of the halftime show, it just happened a week ago. People have settled down from it now. But I think about how powerful Usher was for his halftime show. And you may think, oh, he makes so much money during the halftime show. It's not always the case. The NFL is pretty brilliant. So Apple Music, it paid the NFL $50 million annually to sponsor the Super Bowl halftime show. Now, Usher did not get any of that money, according to reports. Listen up. What do you mean he didn't get money, Big C? Well, listen up. Instead, he performed for free, leveraging the exposure to gain followers to sell tickets and increase streaming numbers. Here's how it works. Some of the world's most famous artists have performed at the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 58 was the most watched TV program in the history of sports, only second to the Apollo 11 moon landing. Now, other great athletes and entertainers that tune in for Super Bowl to watch it, they want to see the halftime performance. Well, Usher was doing this thing this year. And then think about some of the great entertainers of the past. Prince, the great Michael Jackson, the great Bruce Springsteen, the great Beyonce, the great Justin Timberlake, the Rolling Stones, and Rihanna. Now, reports have it none of those great artists were paid. What? Nixie, what do you mean they weren't paid? No one protected their assets? Listen, this is what I hear from NFL sources. The NFL signs a $50 million sponsorship deal. The artists get a $15 million production budget, but that budget covers 2,000 to 3,000 part-time workers, including set design, security, dancers, and marketing. But artists don't get any of that money. In fact, some artists, rumor has it, they end up spending millions of their own dollars to put on their performance. For example, The Weeknd, for instance, spent $7 million on personal cash on his show at Super Bowl 55. The great Dr. Dre reportedly spent a similar amount in 2022. So why do they do it? It's called exposure. You know, Taylor Swift, she ended up having an announcement of a new album coming up at one of the award shows, but she was always plastered all over the TV for Super Bowl 58. And the exposure is what matters. So Super Bowl, it was watched by, I think they said 123 million people. Now, some brands will spend $7 million for a 30-second commercial because sports is big. Anyone that says, oh, I don't want to watch sports, the whole world, listen up. The only TV show that had more viewers than Super Bowl 58 was the Apollo 11 moon landing. There's nothing bigger than the Super Bowl. That's why I love giving it praise. They do it right. Brands will spend up to $7 million for a 30-second commercial during the year's game. Usher received an uninterrupted 13-minute commercial for free. Okay, according to what he was paid and had to pay out for his ancillary cruise. That's more valuable than his performance fee. And the data backs it up. Justin Timberlake saw a 534% increase in music sales after Super Bowl 52. Travis Scott performance free. Think about this. His fee doubled from $500,000 to $1 million after Super Bowl 53. Jennifer Lopez and Shakira gained 3 million Instagram followers after Super Bowl 54. Rihanna's numbers were mind-blowing too. The number one most streamed artist globally, 17 songs in the top 40 on Spotify, gained 3 million followers on Instagram. Fenty Beauty searches were up 833%. Even more spectacular, Rihanna's performance had more viewers at 118 million than the game itself at 115 million. So when she stopped doing her thing at the halftime show, last year people tuned out. So it's no surprise that Usher had a few tricks up his sleeve, and Usher's releasing his new album, Coming Home, just 2 days before Super Bowl 58, hoping that his performance will send it into the top of the charts. He also signed several endorsement deals and will be even in a commercial. But Usher's big play is promoting his upcoming tour. I even heard he got married. I don't know if he got married or not. But StubHub says that artists typically see a 50% increase in concert tickets and searches after performing at the Super Bowl. And The Weeknd sold 1 million tickets after his performance, and that's why Usher announced a 24-city arena tour and before Super Bowl kickoff, and with tickets going up for sale immediately when he stepped off stage. So it creates a win-win situation. The NFL gets one of the world's top artists to perform at his biggest event for free. Well, not free, but they got to pay people. And the musicians get a 13-minute commercial in front of 123 million viewers. So for a fraction of what the brands pay, that's why artists agree to do it. And Usher did a great job. I mean, obviously, when you think about some of the great performances over the Super Bowl history, as I mentioned, Michael Jackson, Prince, Bruce Springsteen, obviously you got Rihanna, and then Usher this year. That's just so much part of the halftime show. The crew setting up, taking down the stage, and also making sure those tiny tights worked on all 65,000 guests had more to celebrate than just watching the game. Usher's photo that changed into different colors. I'm telling you, the man's a great performer. He's a genius. I'm going to give him some praise. You know, no one can dance like Michael Jackson, but Usher's doing his thing. Really do appreciate seeing him perform for a lot of people. I wanna just say Super Bowl, they do it right, and it's hard to beat anyone that says the Super Bowl is a show that people don't want to watch. I don't know. It's just a thought for me for Big C Sports. Will there ever be a day that the Super Bowl is played on a Saturday? Oh, you out of your mind, Big C. Okay, maybe not Saturday, but maybe the Super Bowl holiday would come into event so people on Monday can do more shopping as opposed to going back to work or trying to getting over their hangovers, etc. But it's also fair and level where I really do appreciate what the Super Bowl has done. I've been a part of it many, many moons and really do love bringing that to you. I also want to get on something that happened in the NBA All-Star Game. I think they can do something different for the All-Star Game. I know with NFL football, they used to have real football over in Hawaii, and then they changed it to kind of a flag football so players wouldn't get hurt. Too much money's involved. But NBA basketball, in my opinion, it could use a little bit of fix-up. So some moments from the All-Star weekend, from think about it, State Farm All-Star Saturday night to the All-Star game, the moments that stood out the most in the weekend in Indianapolis, I think when you look at, I think this something just got to change in my opinion. I know everybody likes their own thoughts, but Lillard ensures All-Star weekend chicks to Dame time. And the focus was the upstart East Stars win a record-setting All-Star game. The East scored a record 211 points in an All-Star win. That means they're not playing defense. And I know it's just an exhibition. They're not out there trying to win. But I do think if they had the East and the West, if they had more at stake, and again, it's exhibition, so maybe the players won't go for it. They made too much money. But maybe the team, if the East won or the West won, maybe, just maybe, if the team that won the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference with the East or West winning the All-Star game, maybe they would get spotted 10 points. Oh, you almost be up there, see? It's just a thought, because I'd like to see more effort into it. 211 points, that shows you they're not playing. Records fell in high-scoring All-Star game. Giannis, I'm telling you, is the winner chicken dinner. What a great player he is. Damian Lillard, 11 threes, named Kia All-Star MVP. Damian Lillard, when he was in Portland, obviously a great player at Portland. At Milwaukee now, Lillard drops a team-high 39 in the East win. And Dollar Dame, the All-Star MVP, a special accomplishment. An All-Star Saturday night viewership was up 54%. You can't tell me it matched with the Super Bowl. Just not at all, but it was up 54%. And when I think about some of these great players and how important it is, one of the things that I love most about it, I'm going to play this thing that came from the All-Star game with the Steph Curry and Sabrina Ionescu, they were just amazing in the way they could shoot threes. So at the conclusion of the 2024 All-Star Weekend, there's so much to be appreciable, and there's so many people that watch it for so many reasons. But the All-Star, the way Steph Curry can shoot, and then Ionescu, she also came out to try to match him point for point. That was pretty special, but she also had to shoot further than what she would normally shoot at the All-Star line. At the NBA players, they shoot a little bit further out, like 23 feet, as opposed to the WNBA. I believe they're right around 18 feet. But that's, everybody loves what they love about it. Nothing wrong with it. But I would love to see NBA All-Star get back to where you're trying to play defense. No one's playing defense when you score 211 points. And again, that's just my thought. Doesn't mean that everybody has to like it, but that's my opinion of it. 211 points means nobody's playing defense, and that's nothing wrong with that. But I would just like to see more of an effort on the defensive side of the ball, because there's something to be said about playing defense in an All-Star game. That's my opinion. The Eastern Conference All-Star awarded 2024 All-Star Game trophy to King, and actually Eastern Conference champion King Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he accepted it with the victory. And there's so much that you want to hear about. I just think it's funny when some of these players, they have such great personalities when it comes to all-star players and how they get the fans involved. I really do appreciate seeing that. But King Giannis Antetokounmpo, just an amazing athlete and entertainer for the Milwaukee Bucks. Just a great spectacle of a performance. And I love that with NBA basketball. So many people have the thought that Giannis, I don't like the way they call him freak. The Greek freak. I don't hear them calling white athletes the Greek freak or the white freak. I think that's an insult. He's a king. I want to give him praise for being a king. That's my opinion, and I'm going to stick with it. So I hope that someday we can get rid of that, what they call him, a derogatory name, of saying, well, that's an accomplishment. It's not an accomplishment. In my opinion, you wouldn't see a baby come out of the womb and call, oh, look at that freak. What a beautiful freak. No one would say that. The parents would say, get out of my room, get out. But they do that to a beautiful, intelligent black athlete, and I don't like that. But who am I? I'm just one person. I will always call him a king and give some king. Give the king some praise. I love giving the king praise. But that's just me. That's how I get down. Not everybody sees like the way I do. Some people say, Curry, you got me out of your fucking mind, like Spock. But I believe, edify people. Don't try to knock him. He's a great player. Obviously, got a lot of great players in the NBA. Dollar Dame, will this be a year that he gets to win an NBA championship? Probably not. I just don't know if they'll get there because Boston looks good, and Joel Embiid's he's hurt, but they have a chance. I still think the Eastern Conference has got to go through Boston because Boston just has a great nucleus. They have a great setup. But the thing that I like, of course, slam dunk competition is great, but Stephen versus Sabrina three-point challenge, and Steph Curry won the three-point challenge with 29 total points, and then Sabrina Ionescu, she totaled 26 points. So women can shoot the ball just like men. It's part of why they play the game, and that's what I love about NBA basketball. When you get the star players, men and women, that can show they both got game, and they get the chance to put their show on display for the whole world to see, and that's what I love about Steph versus Sabrina. And the winner was Steph Curry with $55,000 for the NBA Foundation. Give that some praise. They're always trying to do the right thing for people. Think about something. If I can get this to play, I want you to see what happens for a commercial that I thought was great.
DoorDash.
It's by DoorDash.
DoorDash.
It's called the Six Man. I think it's brilliant. The DoorDash Six Man is powerful. I want to give that praise for the NBA because that's pretty amazing. The DoorDash Six Man, if they have them out there door dashing around to get people food when you really want to be home watching the game. I just thought it was a brilliant commercial. I want to play it. But watch this point. I want to play this on Big C Sports Podcast.
The first ever is Stephen versus Sabrina Steph Curry, the great shooter for the Golden State Warriors, going against Sabrina Ionescu of the New York Liberty. They each get 5 racks. They each get a money ball rack. There are 2 starry balls. Ionescu going first, and you can see she got off to a hot start and just piling up the points early on, making it a tough mountain to climb for Steph Curry. This is that starry ball. That's deep, deep range. Remember, Sabrina Ionescu elected to go from NBA three-point range, and she didn't need any help. She's just that darn good. Knocking down shot after shot after shot, and really putting up a big number. She's at 19 already. There's the other starry ball. That one was just offline, so she goes out to the wing, and at the wing, she started missing a little bit and sort of slowing down. That one helped, and that helped as well to get her to 22. The final rack, a money ball rack for Ionescu. She hits that shot, and just adding to her total, Ionescu finishes with 26. And that's the number that Steph Curry, the great shooter.
An amazing display for an NBA All-Star game. Sabrina Ionescu,
really,
and then Steph Curry, the king of the three-point basket.
Then 2 of 4. Then on the money ball, he hits it 3 of 5. Out to the first wing, and on this wing, he just lit it up. 5 of 5 here, and that's where Steph Curry sort of got out in front of the pace a little bit. He was at 10 after that shot. Then he goes to the starry ball. Couldn't get that ball hit neither starry on the night. That made it a little tougher for Steph. He goes out to the middle and hits 4 of those shots. There you see his wife, Aisha Curry, watching along closely. Steph hit
love the name Curry. Love the name Curry.
Would not fall.
Oh, Curry. Got to get that money, Curry.
And then rack 4 again. Remember, the point total is 26. So not going to be easy, but Steph started to pile him up on the wing again. The first wing he hit 5 of 5. The second wing he hit 5 of 5. Still needing some buckets down the stretch. This was his money ball rack.
Come on, Curry.
Steph, now
come on, Curry. Got to get that money.
This for the win. It goes down and then adds one to boot for a measure of comfort. Steph goes for 29. Has a little Steph Curry dance. He and Sabrina Ionescu share a hug afterwards. What an incredible special event. Steph Curry, again the winner. He's got the belt. We'll see who's back next year.
The king of the NBA three-point basket. That's the big Steph Curry. You gotta know that this brother can do anything from the basket. And obviously, not only a great NBA basketball player, but a great statesman of the league with NBA basketball. So I love the three-point shootout competition. I would just love to see more of the players doing their part and trying to make the game stand tall by playing a little bit of defense. It won't hurt you because we got a great game in NBA basketball. Obviously, it doesn't, in my opinion, stand tall when it comes to NFL football. But the NBA All-Star game is better than the NFL All-Star game. NFL's playing flag football. NBA, at least they play up and down the court. They're not playing an altered form of basketball, but I wish they would play more defense. But I understand these guys make too much money to put their heart, mind, body, and soul into it playing defense. We know they're all-stars. That's why they got chosen to the game. But that's my story. I'm taking with it. I want to give them some praise. If you look to protect your assets, call 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. Protect your assets with the RDC team. We really do appreciate that with Big C Sports. You know, I want to get in on this President's Day. As I mentioned earlier, all of our presidents, the great United States of America, only Lincoln tried to pass reparations. And he did it for the slave owners. When slavery was abolished, he gave them reparations so that they would have some money for that free labor that they lost. And not one president since then has been decent enough to pay reparations to the descendants of chattel slavery. And that's a shame. And you know it's true. I'm not chucking and driving. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Well, I want to transition on this beautiful President's Day to the great Tiger Woods. Obviously, he had to leave the Genesis Open, his own tournament. And Tiger Woods, I mean, obviously he's a great golfer, but down the back nine he's had some issues with his own health lately. But Tiger Woods said he's feeling better, and he said he's resting, and he's also confirmed that he had to withdraw from his own Genesis Invitational and said he had influenza. But obviously when anything happens with Tiger, people tend to wonder what's wrong and they want to make sure that he's healthy. Obviously he had the car accident in Southern California a few years ago, and you just want to see the man do well. You just want to see him do well. But a statement over his social channels with just 4 sentences, it said it's unclear if he, as the tournament host, would try to return to the Genesis during Sunday's final round. And the message was also the latest news in the Tiger Woods whirlwind. And someone needs to protect Tiger's assets. If that makes sense to you, wish he would have had a driver when he had the car accident down in Southern California. You're the number one golfer in the world, and you have paparazzi city, and you didn't have a professional driver driving you around, making sure you got around safely. I mean, that's just something. I mean, everybody has their own right to drive their own vehicle, of course. But my goodness, for someone that has such greatness to him, to see what's happening to him now, he's still a champion in golf, but he's not going to be what he could have been. He's been making his first PGA Tour start since last April when he withdrew from the Masters, and he shot an up and down 1/72 during Thursday's first round. He made 5 birdies. He made 6 bogeys, and then he shanked once. Afterwards, he blamed his bad play on back spasms. I know I'm still dealing with a sciatic nerve, and sometimes it runs down your backside, down the side of your leg, and it feels like someone stuck a needle inside of you, and obviously it causes pain in the body of various reasons. But Friday, during the Genesis second round, he opened with a birdie. I've shot birdies before, too. I had a BB gun when I was a little boy. I shot a lot of birdies. Okay, on the golf course, not as many. But playing with a partner, Gary Woodland later admitted that Tiger, he looked off, and there were reports that he took multiple bathroom stops. By the 7th hole, he was done, and the PGA Tour rules officials, they carted him back to the clubhouse. Uncertainty followed, and people told the Golf Channel viewers that he was not, that Woods pulled out not due to his back, but because of an illness. And an ambulance and 2 fire trucks appeared at Riviera, and medical professionals entered and exited the clubhouse every few minutes. After a while, the fire trucks and the ambulance left. There were followers later by Woods at about 3:40 p.m. local time. Tiger exited and drove away. He was driven away by an official in a red Genesis coupe. All fair and level war. Now, when you think about Tiger, Rob McNamara, a longtime Woods confidant, released in questions and answer statement via the PGA Tour communications team. And it pretty much went by the fact that Tiger Woods' withdrawal was purely illness. He didn't hurt his leg again, so thank goodness for that. And it was just as it was explained. So he started feeling some flu-like symptoms, and he woke up in the morning, and they were worse than the night previous. And he had a little bit of a fever, and that it was better during the warm-up. And then when he got out there and was walking and playing, he started feeling a little bit dizzy. Ultimately, the doctors are saying he's got some type of a flu, and that he was dehydrated, and he's been treated with an IV bag, and he's doing much better, and he'll be released on his own. And obviously, he's been released on his own. Just to confirm, with all the EMT trucks, everybody, the personnel there, everybody was thinking there was a lot of serious junk going on. But it was not as serious as a lot of people thought, because he did have his leg repaired when he had the accident a few years ago in Southern California. So nothing structural as far as back or ankle is concerned. Everybody gets a little hitch in the giddy up every now and then, and that seems to be what happened to Tiger Woods. But obviously, it's not physical at all. His back is fine. It was all medical illness, dehydration, which is now the symptoms reversing themselves, and now he's had an IV after his round. Woodland and Woods did not look right. He said he didn't look right at all. He was quieter, Woodland said. Obviously, it's cut day. We're all trying to play well, especially the whole group is trying to focus and pick ourselves up and play well, and they felt bad for Tiger. But Tiger has enough success to last a lifetime. He has enough money in the bank to last a lifetime. He's always whole hat. People look after his assets and when it comes to finances at the same time. So Saturday, Woods he said that he was at 10:15 a.m. local time. His social media account shared that I would like to confirm I had to withdraw from the Genesis due to illness, which we know was influenza, and he's resting and feeling better. Good luck to the players this weekend. He's disappointed not being there and wants to thank the Genesis USA and all the fans for their support. I want to give Tiger some praise. He's been in the spotlight all of his life, and not many people understand what that's like, to be in the spotlight all your life and everything you do. Even going to the restroom, people want to say, Tiger, are you okay? Yeah, I'm just going to the restroom. You go to the restroom, people want to know, are you okay? Of course he's okay. But I'm just glad that he's okay. All's fair level, where I want to give him praise again, because he's been at it since he was a little kid. His daddy got him in golf on television, and he's figured out how to just keep improving and improving as a spokesperson, and also obviously the golfer, the 15 majors, just a great golfer. I want to close out today's show on President's Day. It's important because I'm pro reparations. I believe in protecting everybody's assets. The RDC team, you can protect your assets. I want to make sure I do that. There's a show on MSNBC. It's called Uncounted Millions. Think about it. Uncounted Millions. Let's Get Free, Part 1 of Uncounted Millions, the power of reparations. So it's not just Big C Sports. When people say, oh, Big C, there you go talking about reparations again. Well, MSNBC, they have a program called Uncounted Millions. It says Part 1, Uncounted Millions, the power of reparations. In a new series, we go on a journey to discover an untold story of freedom and reparations. That's important. About the episode, the movement for reparations is gaining traction across the country with programs like Big C Sports Podcast, also MSNBC, ABC News, CBS News, NBC News, all talking about reparations, as well as governors from sea to shining sea. So it's gaining traction across the country as cities and states debate on what is owed to the descendants of the formerly enslaved. The question is, what is owed has plagued the great American conscience since the Civil War, and the North won, actually the Union won because President Lincoln had black soldiers join the Union Army to defeat the Southern Confederates. But what information America discovered is that through a strange legal loophole, a small number of African American people may have managed to get paid in the series called Uncounted Millions. You got to Google it. The Power of Reparations. The Pulitzer and Emmy-winning host Tremaine Lee follows the story of Gabriel Coakley, perhaps one of the only black Americans to receive something akin to reparations. Big C Sports will be next. Give me some praise. You got to see it before you see it. So they look at the mark left on his family for generations and ask if more African-American families have been given a lump sum of money 150 years ago, like white Americans were given the Homestead Act, which over 300 million acres of land was given away for free to white Americans. Free. And even white Europeans with compound interest, the eighth wonder of the world. That's the wealth gap. You see it right there. Plus, prior to that, you had slavery that lasted from 1619 to 1865. Work from cradle to grave. Cradle to grave, never to get paid? How do people who get paid now say, oh, we don't need to pay no reparations? Well, this great program on MSNBC that I'm going to toot my horn. Big C Sports been talking about reparations for about 5 years now, so I applaud MSNBC for doing their thing too. Think about that. If black Americans, African Americans were given money 150 years ago like white people were, how might the inequities facing black America look different today? And how might knowing this story change our current conversation on reparations in America? So episode 1 begins in Brooklyn with Coakley's descendants with them traveled back before the Civil War to learn about Gabriel Coakley's fight for freedom and eventually restitution. In addition to Coakley's descendant John and Adele and Richard Fatu, Tremaine is joined by authors Dr. Chris Myers-Ash and historian Dr. Lopez Matthews and Wesley College professor Dr. Kelly Carter Jackson. You got to give them some praise. There's no evidence that shows that the descendants of child slavery should not get paid. No evidence. None. You got to know that. And that's why I'm such a proponent of the California Reparations Task Force, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. No matter what you do for work, there are times when you realize that something's not right. If it comes from God, it has to be right. If it's not of God, if it's of deceit, then it's not right. But when you think about the descendants of child slavery and should reparations be paid, the answer is yes. From sea to shining sea, from governors to different governors of different states. And I just got to say, it's Black History Month. And I thought there was a moment that kind of missed the boat, if that makes sense to you, no pun intended. Descendants of black icons gathered at the White House in a historic meeting. The families of Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, Booker T. Washington, Ida B. Wells, Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks, Emmett Till, and more. They met for the first time in some cases. They met with Vice President Kamala Harris and Stephen Benjamin, Director of the Office of Public Engagement at the White House. It was February 13, 2024. Today's the 19th. And Vice President Kamala Harris addressed the descendants of some of the most prominent civil rights leaders from the 1950s and 1960s and other foundational historic figures who gathered at the White House, convening on the same room for the first time. Imagine the families of Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, Booker T. Washington, Ida B. Wells, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, Emmett Till, and Thomas Jefferson, as well as Sammy Hemings, among others. They were scheduled to attend, and they were treated with dinner, get the chance to tour, but no talk of reparations. Now, Vice President Kamala Harris, she praised the descendants of extraordinary American heroes who she said embody the promise of the nation and the Constitution. And they passed the baton to us, Harris said last week. Give that some praise. But what we really need is reparations now, reparations forever. That's important. We just celebrated NBA All-Star Game. We celebrated the Super Bowl. People come together and try to do the right thing to make life better for all. I'm going to close out on this story that Stephen K. Benjamin, the director of the White House Office of Public Engagement, followed Vice President Kamala Harris to recap the administration's initiatives, including an executive order tied to police accountability and President Joe Biden signing the law to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. I say pause on the holiday and say yes to reparations now, reparations forever. That's what needs to be done. Well, that's my story. I'm sticking with it. I know I told you I love doing Big C Sports Podcast. My show's not always the same. It's a lot different than a lot of people do on a sports show. But I told you about the great Tiger Woods. He's going to be fine. He just had some influenza based on his own reports. And then the NBA All-Star Game, 211 points, that's too much, in my opinion, in an All-Star game. NFL halftime, a lot of the performers, they perform, but the money they get, they got to pay their staff, the security, etc., the dancers, and the crew. But they do get a 13-minute commercial. Oftentimes, they'll have a new album coming out, or CD, or music coming out, streaming, and they get more people to follow them based on that. And that's what I do appreciate also, because it had 123 million viewers, the largest in the history of the Super Bowl. Get that some praise. Only second to the Lunar 11 moon landing. That's a lot. And I love the color of Big C Sports. Well, as I say, protect your assets. RDC team, Big C Sports, 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. I love telling my family legacy on President's Day. I love giving praise to my beautiful great-grandparents. On my mother's side, my beautiful great-grandparents, my grandmother and great-grandfather, my grandmother Mudia, my grandfather Hezekiah, my beautiful mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program and a food program. Really do appreciate my mama, the best person I ever met in my life. Love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. On my father's side, my grandfather, Albert Curry, my grandmother, Alberta Curry, my beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure that planes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. My beautiful brother, love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning. On top to speak, always saying go forward. A voracious reader, really do appreciate you, Todd. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years from a major university. Set up the very first interview for Big C Sports Podcast back in the days of Salem Media. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Isaiah 54:17, no weapon formed against you will prosper. And then my beautiful handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College student, very smart, erudite. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get trees newspapers to look up stats for Big C Sports Podcast. One day Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. Been Googling ever since. Now I'm on 29 podcast platforms and streaming on 4 TV platforms. Malcolm, you can be anything you want to be. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against you will prosper. And then Big C, I love all the knowledge over the years. Always saying you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. Saying let's get ready to rumble. I love saying welcome to the show. And for them at Big C Sports Podcast, I have no scripts. I have no 3-bit teleprompters, no producer in my ear. I do want to say, I'm chanting reparations now. Reparations forever. As I always tell you on every Big C Sports Podcast, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber, you can call Lyft, you can walk it off, you can sleep it off. But don't let someone you love get behind the wheel of a car, start drinking and driving. The life you say may be your own or someone you love. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you, Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. Every time I listen to Big C Sports, I want to think reparations now, reparations forever. And then I float like a butterfly, and I sting like a bee. I love adding that part in. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage being hit upside the head. Anybody that hits you, they don't love you. It's not love. Pick up the phone and call 911. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. There's no leader in your life. What's leader, Big C? Leader is love is the answer. Love is always the answer. No one should ever have to go through that garbage. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, back by popular demand. As I always tell you, it is President's Day, and I'm always hopeful. I believe in seeing things before I see things. That's why I love doing Big C Sports. I want to honor President Abraham Lincoln and Dr. King, as I always do on every Big C Sports show, because you want to know who won the game? Pay reparations now. Pay reparations forever. Come on, y'all. Say it like your team just won the NBA All-Star game. Pay reparations now. Pay reparations forever. And unfortunately, I hear any of our beautiful, intelligent athletes talk about reparations for the All-Star game, and that's a shame. But Big C Sports will do it. Either lead, follow, get out of the way. I want to say pass reparations now. Pass reparations forever. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day.